Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to the John DeVito Show. It is the 16th of August, almost 6 o'clock p.m. doing it today. And I'm not going to be on for a long time, but I get a few things I want to talk about today. So hopefully everyone had a great weekend. Mine was good. We had a really good time. Went to a fair yesterday and really enjoyed some of the beautiful weather that we had. It was about 80 degrees and sunny. And we had another nice day today. But kind of working my way through some issues today. We had to have my car towed first thing in the morning, so that was kind of annoying. But anyway, we're going to talk about some things going on in the world right now and then just chat about some feelings I'm having about something that's coming up in my life, kind of a big milestone. Welcome to everybody coming in. I appreciate it. DNA, Englishman, Spanky with Beads and Weenies. Welcome to the show. And we're going to get started here in a minute. So everybody, welcome to the John DeVito Show. It is Monday afternoon, 5:45. I'm not normally on at this time of day, and I hope everyone had an amazing weekend. My weekend was good. I'm kind of happy that baseball season is over, and we don't have 10 baseball games a weekend. And when I say 10, I'm not exaggerating. Some weekends with two boys playing travel baseball, they'll be playing 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday each. And then, with town games, we may have had up to 10 baseball games. And my wife and I wonder why we're tired, all the time. And I think that's part of the reason. So we're in between sports right now, which is kind of nice. And yesterday we went to a fair in Massachusetts, a carnival, a fair, whatever you call them. And we went to one that is in Bolton, Massachusetts. It's called the Bolton Fair. And we had a good time. It's not really a huge fair. And it's not a fair that we normally go to. We do like going to fairs in the fall, but we're so worried that COVID is going to shut things down again. We figured we'd hit this fair just in case so we could get one in and, enjoy the fair. So Mike from Tampa Bay, welcome. And little golf course person, welcome to the show also. So yeah, I'm just chatting a little bit about my weekend, had a laid back weekend that was really nice. Now, unfortunately, on the way home from the fair yesterday, I'm driving my vehicle. I've got a Ford Expedition. I've got 4 kids, dogs, whatever. So we're driving home and we almost made it home. All of a sudden, the temperature gauge goes off on my car. The dashboard starts lighting up like a Christmas tree. And I'm like, oh, man. So we were able to luckily roll back down through my neighborhood and pull into the driveway. So this morning I had to call AAA, and we got AAA towed my vehicle away today. So who knows what that's going to cost. But we literally, for the last 3 months, we've had nothing but one thing after another breakdown. We had our washing machine breakdown. My camper, the last time we took it out, that was leaking all over the place. We had to drop that off. The sink in our kitchen broke. And now we've got my vehicle, which is in the shop, and they said they may not actually get to it until next week. I mean, this is Monday of this week, and they may not get to my car until next week, which is crazy. And that just shows how busy places are. Did I spill anything on the dash? I did not. I didn't. So I don't know what happened. I checked the coolant. It was all good, but I had smoke pouring out of this damn thing. Oh, yeah, I think you're right, Stinky Dad. I think, Glenn, that God is punishing us for being somewhat irresponsible and taking away whatever money we may have. So I'm sure this is going to be expensive, and we still got to pay to get the camper back. So, man, it's one of those things right now where one thing after another has been breaking down in our house. But aside from the car problems, good weekend. We had a blast. And one of the things I'm going to get into talking to, not a big political show today. I'm going to mention a couple things. But honestly, it's starting to hit me and it's starting to bum me out realizing that my oldest son is leaving in 2 weeks. He's my 18-year-old son, Matt, on the autism spectrum. He's got Tourette's syndrome. He's got ADHD. And honestly, he can be an absolute pain in the ass to live with. I mean, but again, he's my first son. I've got 3 boys. I've got a daughter. He's my first son. And he's 18 years old, and it's time for him to go off into the world and try to do his thing. But I got to say, I've been saying all along it wasn't going to bother me when he left. And he's not even going that far away from home. But this is the first of my children that's leaving. And I got to tell you, I don't know how many parents we have in here that have older children, but when your kids are little, you literally never think they're going to grow up and leave. It's you're changing diapers, you're feeding them constantly. They're running around and breaking everything in your house, yelling and screaming, and you never get any sleep because they're up at night all the time. And people always tell you that just wait till you see how quickly it goes by. You're going to be shocked. Before you know it, you're going to wake up and they're going to be gone. And you hear that when you're a young parent, and you're like, I get a long time left. It's not going to happen for a long time. It's not even on the horizon. I'm here to tell you that it happens a hell of a lot quicker than you think it does. Mike from Tampa Bay, I see that you're still having your diapers changed. You and Joe Biden both, baby. So I'm glad to see that you're having your diapers changed. And I'm probably not too far away from actually wearing diapers and having them changed. I mean, at my age, I'm in my early 50s. And, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years, I'm probably putting on Depends and doing whatever. So I don't know, so not out of the realm of possibility. Hey, for anybody that's new here, please, if you could, follow me if you're here new. If you wouldn't mind, please share my live. I would greatly appreciate it. And I want to talk a little bit about what's going on in the world right now also. And this is not going to be like a long political show, but I've got to say, watching the videos today of what's happening in Afghanistan is literally breaking my heart. I mean, I'm not, this overly sensitive guy usually. I'm coming out here and ripping and roaring about things, but to see these people who are running to the airport, who are trying to climb onto airplanes that are moving just to escape the city, because you've got these terrorists are going from home to home to home looking for people to kill. So again, if you lived in Kabul and you assisted the United States, if you resisted the Taliban, if you did anything to kind of claim your freedom over the last 10, 20, 30 years, I mean, they're coming for you. They're coming for you. These people are going house to house. I mean, I can't imagine, being in my house right now. I'm here with a couple of my kids. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to have people bursting through your door and looking to kill you if you were, I guess, part of the resistance. So, as I said, that this isn't going to be all political today, but honestly, when I was watching this afternoon, I'm doing some work, I'm watching the news, and I'm seeing what these people are going through right now. How do we get to this point? So I see Cummings is mentioning down in the chat that Biden's taken in 30,000 refugees. And man, how many more people are we going to take into this country? We've got the refugees coming in from Afghanistan, people pouring over the border down in the South. I mean, I don't know how many more people we can continue to take in, but I guess my point is, how do we let this get to this point? I see people, are blaming the previous president. People are blaming Biden. But I mean, how could we not predict that if we removed all of the troops, that this would happen? And I get it. Maybe at some point that was inevitable. We can't keep our troops there forever. And, maybe at some point, Afghanistan needs to figure their own shit out and they need to deal with this. But you're right. I see Cummings is saying Afghanistan was always going to collapse. And you're probably right. I mean, in society, you've got companies that are not strong, successful companies anymore, and they collapse. You have relationships in your life that are not successful relationships, and they collapse. And I think probably when you look at a place like Afghanistan, I mean, it never really had a chance to succeed. Now, I didn't see the speech that Biden gave this afternoon, but he said that if the Taliban continues to occupy the capital, he is going to go after them with devastating effects. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but you're right. And Cummings, I heard you say it on your show last night. And if we're going to be fair on the show, I mean, you got to go back in time. We shouldn't have been there. George Bush Jr. blew it. The intelligence that he had blew it. We should have never been there. And you're right. We probably should have been fighting Pakistan and not Afghanistan. But for me, the whole point of this right now is, man, I look at these people and I see what they're going through. And it just honestly makes me feel bad. It breaks my heart to see that so many people are dying. So many people are living in peril in this world. And you see it everywhere. I mean, you see it in other places. I mean, you look at what's happening in Haiti again right now. Now, we had, with the big earthquake in Haiti, again, there was one several years ago as well that happened. And right around the corner from my house, there is a woman that used to live there. She was a young woman, lived with her family. The family is one of the major builders in my area. They build houses, build developments. It was the Gangle family. And if you get a chance, Google Be Like Brit, B-R-I-T. So there's an organization called Be Like Brit in my area. And the reason why that organization exists is because her family, built this in honor of her, because she had been a college exchange student, and she went to Haiti to work with the poor. And she kind of was telling her parents this is what she wanted to do with her life. She was a young, I think, 20-year-old girl at the time, 21 years old. And she ended up getting caught in the last earthquake that devastated the country, and a building collapsed on her and she died. So this girl's family lives like literally right around the corner from my house. And the family built this orphanage in Port-au-Prince in Haiti. And I think they have taken in like 66 children that no longer have parents. So they actually had the dad on the news here the other day talking about how luckily the structure he built, hadn't collapsed and the children are all safe. But when you see all the peril that we're seeing in the world right now, sometimes it's hard not to get depressed. I mean, you're seeing, families in Afghanistan running for their lives. You're seeing other people suffering in Haiti right now due to the latest earthquake. And I'll tell you, on a Monday, sometimes these things hit you and you're like, man, what is going on in the world right now? And it's really hard to watch sometimes. So, I just did a show the other day about how it's so important to be positive every day. But how do you do it? Yeah, how do you maintain that positivity when you see negative stories over and over and over again on the news, in the newspaper, on social media? I mean, it's easy to say, turn this stuff off, but really it's almost impossible to avoid it because it's everywhere, right? I mean, it's absolutely everywhere. You can't turn away from all the negativity that comes our way, in this world sometimes and on the news. It's really hard to deal with sometimes. But, for me today, I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be hopeful that we've got good things coming and, positive things are on the horizon. In my personal life right now, things are pretty good. And now, Cummings, I just saw that you like the show. How do you even do that? Again, here I am. I took like a month off from being on Podbean, and I see people liking the show. I've been in other shows the last few days. I don't know how to like the show. Is that what it is? The little hearts? I noticed I did that. I was in the Ralph Williams show this morning, and I hit something, and all these little friggin' hearts are like flying all over the screen. So I'm like, what the hell is that? So tell me about the hearts with the countdown. I'm not sure even what that is, but I saw the little countdown. I hit the little thing, and then the hearts went up on Ralph Williams' podcast. And I have to admit, I am a heterosexual. I'm a married man, but I felt like I was giving Ralph a little love. So I don't know if he was receiving my message, but I don't know. I was floating out there sending some hearts. I felt pretty good about it. But I was in his show this morning, man. He's hysterical. So let's see. You can't troll on Podbean anymore, right? I did not know that. Did they finally take care of that? Because we really had some asshole trolls on this platform for quite a while. So that's actually kind of good. So let's see. So it adds to your engagement, and you have a timer to first get it. Oh, that's kind of cool. All right, so that's how it works. So you guys have like a little game you get to play. So if I'm in here and I'm boring the fuck out of you like I normally do, you hit the little thing and the hearts fly and you get some engagement and it's all good. So that's what I like to hear. Podbean taking it to the next level. What I would like to see is Podbean pay me some fucking money, because I don't earn anything for any of these shows I've done, and I've certainly paid them a lot of money over the years. So you're saying, Cummings, you have to verify your email before you can chat with an account. Well, that's good. It's good that they did that, because we had a real problem here, with the platform and with all the people coming on and bullying people like Robert and others like that. So anyway, hey, listen, the real point of the real point of me getting on today is, man, today I've literally been overwhelmed with feelings thinking about, my oldest son leaving the house. And I don't know if anybody in here has been through that. Like, I know, Mike, you have younger children, Glenn, Cummings, I think we've got a bunch of people that have like younger children in here. And for me, man, this, I've been a guy that has spent a lot of time with my kids over the years. My wife, as you know, works in the medical field. She works long hours. I work remotely out of the house. So a lot of times when there were things that she had to do for work, I was the person that had to kind of pick up the slack at home just because she couldn't do it. So yeah, so Cummings is saying his daughter just went to school and I cried like a baby. Dude, I get it. I remember dropping my kids off at daycare for the first time. I remember dropping my kids off at school for the first time, and it literally felt like it was yesterday. It felt like it was yesterday. It flew by like in the blink of an eye. And here I am. It's like, what happened? My oldest son's 18, and on September 7th, he moves out of the house. He's gone. And again, I'm sure he'll come back on breaks, and I'm going to see him plenty and all that good stuff. But I'm realizing now, for the first time in my life, my family dynamic is going to be changing, and it's going to be a lot different going forward than it's been in the past. So my son's going to be gone. I've got a daughter who is 16. She's going to be a junior in high school this year. And the way we structured this, with me being an old fuck when I had kids. We kind of had kids like every 2 years because I didn't want to be like 83 years old going to my kids' high school graduation. So me being the old bastard that I am, we had kids like every 2 years. So literally, it's going to be my son Matt is going to leave this September. In 2 years, my daughter Caitlin's gone. 2 years after that, my son Ethan's gone. And then 2 years after that, our baby Brandon will be gone. So I guess at that point, once all the kids are gone, we'll see if my wife and I still like each other. I'm sure that some of you have kids can probably appreciate this. When you've got kids, and a lot of kids, like I have four, we should have fucking stopped at two because four was completely almost impossible to manage. Just kidding. I love my kids, but it was hard. Trust me, when you get a lot of them. And you spend so much time living for your kids, and you spend so much time going to sporting events and different activities and birthday parties and all this shit that comes along with being a parent. You don't have a lot of time for the two of you to go on dates and spend time together and things like that. So over the last couple of weeks, my wife and I have actually had a couple of dates where we've gone out, and it's kind of good where you are able to kind of connect the two of you. But you start to realize that, man, everything we talk about is basically about the kids. Once we get out of this situation where we have our children at home, we're going to have to find a way to communicate with each other and be with each other on a regular basis. So hopefully she doesn't smarten up in, say, like 10 years and throw me the fuck out. I've been kind of waiting for that to happen, for her to realize that she made a mistake and just kick my ass to the curb. And it hasn't happened yet. So I don't know if it's either, laziness on her part where she doesn't want to go out and date again, or I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe she loves me. Could be that. Who knows? I can't imagine why, because I look at myself in the mirror and I look at my personality, and really I'm not seeing a lot of checks on that side of the balance. So I don't know, man. Oh, dude, I'm glad you mentioned that. Cummings, a lot of people turn into swingers when the kids leave. Just kidding. Do you know what the international symbol for swinging is? Someone told me this the other day. I don't know if this is true or not, and I can see Jess Duck is coming in at a very interesting time in the show, so yes, I didn't know that. I did not know that. So Cummings, answer the question. If you have something like a shirt, anything with an upside down pineapple, that means you are a swinger and you're open for business. And literally, I found that out before we went to Old Orchard Beach in Maine. And literally, there was this couple that walked right by my wife and I, and they were decked out, man, pineapples from head to toe. And I'm sitting there looking at them going, all right, so I just heard about this pineapple thing. And, and I'm like, all right, they don't look like swingers. Are they swingers? And I guess either they are swingers and they're knowingly wearing the pineapple attire from top to bottom, or they had no fucking idea. They went out and got something on a clearance rack, and they're starting to wonder why people are so friendly when they go out into bars and things like that. But I had no idea that if you want to swing, if you want to be a swinger, if you want to go with different people, all you have to do is wear pineapples. Display pineapples, and that symbolizes to other people that you are a swinger. I had no idea. I know, Jess, it is. You never know what you're going to get in here. It could be politics. It could be sex. It could be, good-hearted family stuff. I mean, you never know. Now, let me tell you a funny story. Cummings, you brought this up, so I got to tell this story. One of my buddies, I won't mention the name, but he's one of the guys I go up to Maine with, grew up with him in New Hampshire. Apparently, he and his wife kept seeing this person in town that they knew. And I won't mention where it is to give anything away. But the person kept saying to them, hey, listen, when you get a chance, why don't you stop by sometime? You seem like good people. We see each other at the school events a lot. We end up, talking a lot. And you know where we live. We're right on this main street. Pop in sometime. We'd love to have you just stop in. We're stop-in type of people. You don't have to call. You don't have to, plan ahead. Just pop in and say hello. So they're like, all right. So, this couple had driven by this house a bunch of times. So one time it was like a Saturday at like maybe 7:00 at night, and they had no plans. So they drive by this house and they saw a bunch of cars out front. So they're like, you know what? Maybe they're having a party, whatever. Let's stop in. All right. So they go and knock on the door. The woman answers the door. She's like, come on in. They come on in. And the first thing they see is a couch over in the corner of the room with two people completely full bore just going at it. Completely naked. They look around the room. Everybody's naked. All right. The woman that came to the door, she was wearing like, I guess, some small outfit. They couldn't see when they knocked. She invites them in. She's wearing that. So literally there were people in all different rooms performing different sexual acts, going at it, right in plain sight, everybody else watching. And again, maybe I sound like an old stuffy whatever, but I don't usually go to swinger parties, and I don't think they did either. So they walk in and they're both like, holy shit, what do we do now? Do we stay? Do we run out? They didn't know they were walking into like a swingers party because it wasn't advertised, and the woman had told them just stop by. So maybe she knew that they would stop by and was hoping to swing with them. So they stop into the house, they're in there, people are swinging, right? I'd be horrified. So they walk in, and it's nothing but a house full of swingers, a house full of naked people just going at it on the couches, going at it everywhere, full blown, no one cared. So they walk in, they're like, all right, well, we can't just run out. So they sat down, they had a beer. They were like the only people in there not swinging, right? Exactly. Imagine if you did that. You go in and you're like, you know what? We don't really want to participate, but fuck, this is better than Pornhub. I'm going to sit and watch. I mean, that would be incredible. So, right. I mean, what would you do? I mean, I'm thinking if it was me, I would literally just be so shocked, but I would be interested. I'd be like, holy crap, I can't miss this. Right. That sounds like a super spreader apart event. That would be like, Obama's party on the vineyard, and then the orgy up in the North Country of the area where I came from. So they tell the story, and to see the guy tell the story, I guess they hung out, for like 40 minutes, had a couple of drinks, watched some people they knew and other people just kind of going at it. And then they turned and were like, all right, well, it was nice here. We want to stop by, and we're going to probably go now. And they took off and left. But I mean, I don't even know what I would do if I literally accidentally walked into like a swingers party or an orgy. And that's what happened here. And to me, to hear this person tell the story, it's literally like the funniest thing ever. So I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that's what happens to my friends coming. So you mentioned the pineapple, we end up going down this avenue of swingers parties and things like that. So let's see. Jenny wants to call in. Why not? Why not? Let's see. Christina with a motherfucking K entered the live studio. I like that name. So anyway, yeah, just kind of chilling here, talking about my kid going off to college, talking about swinger parties, talking about Afghanistan. I'm all over the place today. So obviously my ADD is kicking in. Let's see. So Stinky Dad Glenn says John would start taking his pants off before Cheryl elbows him. Oh, you kidding me, dude? I mean, I don't know if I would have done it today. I mean, today, probably not. However, the 20-something John, dude, as soon as I walked into that party, the pants would have been gone. They would have been gone. They would have been off. I would have been down for business. Now I'm a little bit more respectable adult. I've got children. I've got a wife. And I don't think the pants would drop quite as much. And you know why? I'll tell you exactly why they wouldn't drop. Because for me, I don't think I would mind. And guys, tell me if I'm lying. All right? Tell me if I'm lying. I don't think I'd mind if I had sex with another woman. If some hot woman comes over and she wants to go with me, I'm down with that. Let's go. Now, the problem is if my wife's there and then some guy comes over with a Johnson that's a lot bit bigger than mine, I don't want my wife going there. Don't need to see that. Don't need her to see what she hasn't been getting for the last 20 years. She still believes I'm big. At least she tells me I'm big, probably just to patronize me, but that's okay. I can take that. The relationship is working. It's working where she lies and tells me I'm big. I believe that I'm big, and we're good. I don't need to see someone else with more bigness than I have. Dude, obviously my belly's big. I'm at the point now where I kind of need an erection to kind of see it. With the belly, I look down and the belly's kind of covering the flaccid thing going on down there. So yes, I need to do that. So Cummings, I don't know, man. I'm kind of all over the place today. Maybe you can bring me back and
no.
What are you doing?
I'm about to make it worse.
Oh no. Great. I knew it. What do you got? Go ahead.
They used to do a porn show. I don't remember what it was on, but I seen it one time. My buddy showed it to me.
No, I know. It was Cummings Makes Them Come.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that. It was this swinger couple, right? Like they were this couple and they were going to get into swinging, right?
Yeah.
And so they had this like reality show. And this guy, he was like this skinny nerdy looking dude, like backwoods hillbilly from Kentucky or something. And she had never been anywhere, never seen anything before. And she was a 10. Like she was like, okay, like how did he get with her? You knew it had to be a small town kind of deal because there wasn't many men where she was looking.
Right.
Okay, so they decide they're going to get on this reality show and they're going to be a swinger. Okay, dude's got like a 4-inch dick. He's not getting nothing.
Hey, 4 inches, that's pretty big.
Well, he's not getting nothing. There's all these. I mean, there's some decent looking women there, but nobody's interested in him, right? So he gets nothing. His wife is sitting there, and his wife, this black guy, like you can still look this up. I believe it's still on Pornhub. This black guy with one like hanging down to his fucking knees gets a hold of his wife, and like everybody gets up and leaves the room, and this dude's sitting there watching this black guy just bang his wife, and he's sitting there, and
I
he's
think
just,
that's on my favorites list. I think I have that on my favorites list of Pornhub. Remember,
oh
I've been
my
married
god,
for years. No, I'm just kidding. Oh,
it's horrible.
oh, sorry, Caitlin. That's my daughter hearing me talk about this. But dude, let me throw this at you guys. Right, here we go. We've gone down this road. I don't know how the fuck we got here. Trust me, I was sitting in my office after I got done with work, and I thought about doing a show. This is not at all where I expected to go with it, but let's go with it anyway. I played college football, and I remember my freshman year in college when I was a young, innocent boy from New Hampshire. And I went into the locker room, and I was a lineman, and there was a lineman next to me that had his locker next to me. And I remember my friend, I will not mention his name, but he was an offensive lineman, and he had a different pigmentation than I did. And this gentleman, for the first time, he took off the clothing and displayed what he had going on down under. I literally think from that moment on, I was mentally scarred for the rest of my life. This friggin' thing, I swear to God, literally hung down to his knees. The thing was ridiculous. And I remember thinking to myself, all right, I've had people tell me I'm big before. Obviously, they've been fucking lying to me. So this is what big is. That's big. I'm not, you know? So yeah, I had to friggin' have my locker next to this guy for like an entire year. I mean, I felt like going to the coach and begging, can you move me to like the Irish section of the locker
So we were both in football locker rooms, right? At some point, like
yeah.
you've been in. Okay, so now listen. Now let's just be real with it here for a second, right?
Let's do it.
Football locker rooms are the gayest place on earth.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Gayest place you'll ever be.
Well, it was funny. My daughter was asking a question about this the other day, saying, so when men go to the bathroom, if they're in a public bathroom, and we went into locker rooms talking about it, but she said, when men go into the bathrooms, someone was saying that men will occasionally like take a peek, maybe to see what the guy's got next door. And I look back and I'm like, oh, absolutely. I've done that a million times. You kind of go and pee. And if, there's usually a partition, but I'm pretty tall. And I'm kind of curious what the guy's packing next door. I'm not gay. I don't want it. But I'm like, let's see what he's packing. And sometimes, hey, I'm feeling pretty good about my shit. And other times I'm kind of sent back out of the bathroom with my tail between my legs. So, but the locker room, dude, I would agree. An extremely gay place. Go ahead. I mean, tell me some of the things you've experienced in the football locker room.
Oh my god, dude! We had some guys that thought they were all going to go D1. They all sucked.
Right.
But anyway, they were they were your typical second stringers that thought that they were first string guys. Those type of dudes.
Yep.
All right, they all went to a party one weekend, and they were all talking about how straight they were and how many girls they were going to bang that weekend. And I didn't know Monday when I come back to school that was going to happen. But Saturday night, we all got a video. All these dudes went out together, and they all got drunk, and they were all giving each other, the oral.
No.
Oh yeah.
Football team.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. I've seen that. No shit. When I went to, I'm not gonna say. Well,
I did look at the chat, Christina with a motherfucking K, the oral.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get too explicit, but when I went to a college, it's on. If you want to know what college it is, go look on my LinkedIn profile. We had two guys that were nice looking guys. All the girls were after them and stuff. So everybody thought they were, pretty straight. And there I was taking my shit to, be a coach or whatever, because I was taking physical education. And, Terry Bowden, Bobby Bowden, who just died the other day, his son Terry was the head. His son Terry was the head coach of the college that I was at. And so they sent me in there to go get some stuff out of the locker room. So I went to go get some stuff out of the locker room. And one dude's bent over and the other dude's behind him just plowing him. And
You walked in on that? Holy shit.
Yeah, man. I've seen let me tell you, the football locker room, it was me and my best friend. Like we both were in the same program and we walked back into the locker room and we walked in on that. Dude, let me tell you, like we would know. The football locker room is the gayest place you'll ever be.
Now, see, I've never witnessed that. I was in football locker rooms for 11 years, and I never witnessed anyone, kind of going at it or anything to that effect. But I guess it happens. I mean, it's funny. I come from like a little bit of a different era than you guys do. And back when I was a kid, no one ever. I mean, for you guys that are younger in here, I mean, when you grew up in the 70s and 80s like I did, I mean, no one talked about being gay. And it's not like anyone really cared. It's not like, you would even think about it as being a thing. Now, to give you an idea how stupid we were back in the 70s, you had the band Queen with Freddie Mercury. I mean, when they were a rock band in the 70s, no one talked about Freddie Mercury being gay. That didn't even enter the conversation. They were just a great rock band, not to mention the name of the band was Queen. No one ever talked about Freddie Mercury being gay. No one ever talked about the name Queen being the obvious connotations that it have. And then even like with the 80s band like Culture Club, you got Boy George, who dressed pretty much like he was a woman. I mean, nothing. No one talked about it. It wasn't even on the radar back in the day. So back when I was younger, I mean, I think back on kids I went to school with now. There's one in particular I think of, here and there that was obviously gay, and just, at the time, no one noticed, and kids didn't have the courage to come out like they do today. That's one thing. We all shit on the younger generation today, or a lot of people do anyway. But for me, I kind of like the fact that Gen Z and the millennials are able to come out and be a little bit more open about who they are. I mean, whether you agree with lifestyles, whether you don't, that's a different argument. But for me, I like that people are able to be, who they are in today's world. I mean, how do you feel about that, Cummings? You and I are kind of have a pretty good age gap. I mean, for crying out loud, you could be my son, for Christ's sakes. So I'm just kind of wondering, what you feel about that.
I don't know, dude. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, it wasn't that way when I was a kid, though.
What wasn't?
It wasn't like everybody was flamboyant out with it like they are now. I mean, when I grew up, it was still if you were in the closet, you were in the closet, and if you came out, you were the F word.
Yeah,
that's what it was. I mean, and most of the time, if you were one of those, and somebody found out you were, you were cast away, you were no longer one of the boys. You couldn't hang around anymore. That's just, I mean, that's the way it was. This whole out and open, and I'm gonna wear a purse and put fingernails on and all that stuff. This generation below me. Like, I don't even know. Like, it wasn't that way when I was a teenager.
No, I mean,
we knew people. Let me say this though. We knew people were gay. We just didn't give a damn.
That's how it was when I was a kid. No one cared. I mean, no. When I was younger, 70s, 80s, people think it was like this horrible time in the world. I mean, people just didn't give a shit. If you were gay, you were gay. I mean, I don't really remember. I mean, I lived in Whiteville, New Hampshire. I grew up in Whiteville. And honestly, I didn't hear the N-word. I didn't hear a lot of things about, gay people, things like that. And that was a long time ago. I just didn't hear it. Not to say that it didn't happen, but you're right. I think back in the day, for the most part, people just didn't give a fuck. They didn't care as much as now. Now everything's so out in the open, and everything has to be in your face, and everything has to be so canceled if it's not like politically correct. It's just a very, very different world. And in some cases, I don't think a better world, and maybe in some cases it is, and maybe I'm just old as fuck and I don't understand that things are better now. But I mean, I've seen the way the world used to be, and there were certainly negatives in the way the world used to be. I mean, there were things that needed to change. I mean, I like very much today that women in today's day and age have a lot more opportunities, for their careers. They have a lot more opportunities for sports.
Yeah.
I mean, women get, the credit they deserve today when they didn't necessarily get that, back in the 80s and 70s. So, I mean, there are things now that are certainly much, much better than they were back in those days. But I don't know, man.
I'm just waiting on somebody to start a professional women's softball league. Does anybody not know how much money that would freaking draw?
I would go all the time. I've coached baseball and softball. My boys have played baseball. My daughter played softball. I prefer watching softball. It's a fast sport. It's fun to watch. I love softball. I would totally go. I've been thinking the same thing. I would love to have a team around here. We would go all the time,
I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. But the thing of this, like, I've seen Dark Bear's comment about people doing the sex changes and all that.
I mean, talk about that. Go ahead.
we had drag queens when I was a kid. I mean, but we like everybody knew that, you know, there were people out there who dressed up like women. Like that was always a thing, like, you know, and we never paid it much attention, and because it wasn't thrown in our face. And now everybody just wants, I think that's the problem. Like nobody really had a problem with all that stuff until they started throwing it in everybody's face and shoving it down their throat and saying, you've got to accept this. Listen, I don't have to like what you're doing for me to be nice to you. And that's what I mean. You know, I don't know if you want to. If you're an 18-year-old or not even 18, I think it should be like 25, because they say that the human brain doesn't fully develop to 25. But if if you're of age and you want to go and you want to chop it off and you want to become a female and you want to call yourself a female, hey, that's fine. But don't get mad at me when I say I don't like that. Don't get mad at me when I say I don't agree with that, but you want to force me to agree with that. Like that's communist principles. Like you want to force me to accept something that I say is not natural, you know?
Right. No, I mean, for me, you know, I've known some people just through where I live that have gone through the change. And I know it's a very difficult thing on their family and a very, very difficult choice for them to make. And the way I look at that is, you know, for me, if it's right for them, if it's what they feel they need to do to feel like a complete person, then good. You know, I mean, I'm not one that's here ever to judge anyone else's decisions as to what they make in their life. I mean, for you, you live your life the way you want to live it. You know, for a person that might feel the need to change something about their lives, then, you know, that's okay. That's their decision. But, you know, for me, I think you're right. The one thing I don't like in today's society is we are being told all the time that we all have to agree with a certain thing. And like, I mean, you know, this, again, not to get on this road of vaccines, but I mean, we're being forced in a lot of places, the US, Canada, you know, Glenn, where they want people to get vaccinated. You have to get vaccinated. You have to get the shot. If you don't, you're selfish. You're a bad person. You're looking to kill people, which isn't the case. I have said clearly that my family and I got vaccinated. Dude, if you didn't get vaccinated and you want to come sit with me at the dinner table and have dinner with me, you don't have to wear a mask. You fucking hang out with me. You do your thing. And you should not be told by government, by anyone, that you have to get a vaccine. You should not be told by government or anybody that you have to wear a mask. You shouldn't be told that you have to accept a certain thing in life if you don't agree with it. I mean, you know, I know that you're a Christian person and you have certain religious beliefs, and a lot of people have those same beliefs, and, you know, people shouldn't be forced to believe in what they don't believe in. But for me, I try to sit back and I try to remove myself from it. And I do try to put myself in the position of the person that maybe is going through the change or needs to go through the change. And for me, I know that they, you know, are good families, they're good people. And if it makes someone feel better about their life, you know, go for it. Go ahead, make the change. If you don't feel whole the way you are, then make that change and go do it. You know, but it's such a complicated thing. But you're right. I think the main thing is that everybody's been saying in the chat and here with you, Jeremy, is why does everything today have to be in your face? Is that because of social media? Is that because of all the news stations? Why are we at a place in this country where everything's in our face all the time? I mean, what do you think the reason is that for, Jeremy? I mean,
I think they're pushing. I think they're well. I mean, I'm going to say this, and it's going to piss some people off, but I honestly think they push the gay agenda so much, and I think they push the trans agenda so much is because of population control. Like, I think that's what it breaks down to, because I mean, we got well over 7 billion freaking people on the planet. I think that's got a lot to do with it. They push it because of that. And then I think they push it because it gets votes. Like I don't think they care about gay people. I don't think they care if you take a dick up your ass or you take one up your pussy. I mean, I hate to be that vulgar about it, but I mean, I'm just saying.
Ew.
But I mean, I don't think they care at the end of the day. I think it's more about them getting style points and, you know, just being up in your face about it, because it's just some people that they have to be fighting for something. Like, we're so comfortable in America. This is what I feel about it. This is the way I feel about it. And anybody can say whatever they want. You can feel however you want about it. I feel that we're so comfortable here that we have to make shit up just to feel like we have a cause, because we're so comfortable in America. We're
I
not.
mean, the comment I always say is they're first world problems. In this country, we have so many first world problems where, let's face it, compared to a lot of countries, we are very privileged. And I don't mean that, like white privilege or whatever, but I mean, everybody on a whole in the U.S. is privileged because we live in a country that's historically had a pretty strong economy. People have jobs, people have the opportunity for education. And you're right. I think that we are, in a lot of ways, a very privileged group of people. So I think that's plays into exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I just think that it's all first world problems. It's just that we don't have slavery. We have child sex trafficking, but nobody wants to talk about that. Now that's a major problem, but that should be on the forefront. If we want to talk about we've got a third world problem in a first world country, then my God, it's child sex trafficking. But we've got we don't have slavery. We don't have women who are forced to wear something to cover their face because a religion tells them to. Like, you don't have to do that here. Like, we don't have arranged marriages that people have to go through with. We don't have people that don't have running water. We don't have people that can't get access to health care. I don't care what anybody says, and they can say that, oh, well, these poor people don't have access to health care. Pretty much anybody can walk into any emergency room in the country. If you didn't know this, if you walk into the emergency room without health care and you've got a serious medical problem, 99% of the time, the government foots the bill for that. So, which means the taxpayers fit the bill. So, I mean, it's just like we've got a ton of first world problems, and we have to create them. We're our own demise in a way. We're destroying our own country. We're like Rome. That's what happened to Rome. Rome got too comfortable.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what happened with the Roman Empire. And if you were just talking about the sex trafficking, I mean, this is not, it's a subject I love to talk about. No one does, but that's the problem. I mean, you look at what happened, on Epstein's Island. You look at what happened with all these people. I mean, these were the most rich and powerful people in the world. Let's not talk Democrat, Republican. Screw that. Let's talk about the people in the media. You had people in politics. You had famous motion picture and acting stars and things like that. I mean, you had royalty. You had royalty that went to this island, and they were sex trafficking children. I mean, if this is what we have in this world, I mean, we're not talking about like low end, gutter dealing people that are running sex trafficking. We're talking about the people in this world that have all the power are doing this right now, and who's going to stop them? Who's going to stop them? They control all the money. They control all the government. They control the media. I mean, who is going to force the hand of these people to be investigated? What they do is a guy like Epstein gets caught. They kill him. Maxwell, she's in prison. They'll just move on to the next 10 people who are willing to step in and do the job and become a millionaire for doing it. And they'll just keep on doing what they've been doing. And it's awful that we live in a world where the most innocent people are being taken advantage of, but that's where we are right now. That's where we are. And you're right. Nobody stands up for these poor, innocent children who are being taken advantage of. And as a father of four, that disgusts me. It horrifies me. And it really makes me angry. It makes me very angry to see that no one is willing to help these children. I know you feel the same way, Cummings. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, Maxwell's been in prison for how long now? Where are the names? Where are the names of the people that she has said have been on that island molesting children for how long? Where are the names? The authorities have them. They have them. Why isn't the information out there? And why aren't people being held accountable for what they did?
I think it's because Clinton's on that list. I mean, we know Clinton's on the list. I mean, my God, you don't fly on that freaking plane that many times and go to the private island, and it just that we know Clinton's on the list.
Oh, no doubt about it. Of course he is.
I mean, Trump may be on the list. We don't know. I mean, we really don't know if Trump's on the list or not because we know he flew on a private plane with him. Hell, Trump could be on that list.
Well, that's the thing. You've got on that list, you have people from the left, you have people from the right, you've got politicians, you've got actors, you have got, like we said, the most famous people in this world, the most powerful people in this world. They are on that list. And we know they were going on that airplane, they were going to that island with the bottom line is they were looking to have sex with children. And How come they aren't in prison? Why aren't these people being taken away and put in prison? Why aren't they paying the price for what we all know they did? And you've got the witnesses in prison. You know she's giving up names. She's telling everybody. I'm surprised, quite frankly, she's still alive. I don't know how she's kind of pulled that off. I mean, Epstein was obviously killed in a very short amount of time being in there, and you've got Maxwell who's still in prison. I'm not sure how she's alive at this point, but you know they know the names. You know they know what happened, and nothing's being done. You know, that's the world we live in. Nothing's being done. It's sad.
Nothing's gonna be done either because it's too much. Like, could you imagine? Okay, now Prince Andrew's been exposed. He's a pervert. Like we know that. Like, this dude had sex with an underage girl. She's come out. She's told her story. They've got pictures to prove it that he was with her. Pictures have came out. Okay, why is the royal family not in? You know, you get what I'm saying here? Like,
yeah. I mean, why did Prince Harry all of a sudden come to America? You know, not that I give a flying fuck about Prince Harry or Meghan Markle, but I mean, they left the royal family. They came here. They're looking to get away from it. You know, was that legitimate or is that a distraction technique? So people stop talking about Prince Andrew and they talk about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle living in the U.S. Yeah. I mean, who knows, exactly why that happened. But, and Mr. A, if you look down in the chat, he makes a good point. Is Maxwell still alive? I mean, I think she is. I haven't seen really a video of her. Maybe she isn't. Maybe she's dead. But all I know is there's a lot of evidence about the names that are on that list, and none of them have been punished. None of them. Nothing.
She's still alive. I think the only reason she's still alive, though, is because that she hasn't squealed. Yeah. Because Epstein was going to squeal.
Yeah.
He was going to, and they knew it. So they had to off him because, I mean, my God, dude, he had a picture of freaking Bush. Have you seen that picture, that painting he had of Bush?
I have. And then didn't he have the one of Clinton with the heels on and the dress? Also, I think he had that as well, right? That was in his place in New York City.
Yeah, he had one of Bush sitting there with a paper airplane throwing it at a tower.
Yep.
I mean, it's just like, come on, man. This dude knew too much. And he finally got caught up with, and they had to cover it up because, I mean, who's to say, okay, let's say this. Let's say, okay, he tells us Bill Clinton is a pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
That's not that shocking.
Yeah.
But let's say he goes out and tells us that George Bush knew about 9/11 and he was there when they had the conversation, and they were the ones who allowed the terrorists to get into the planes and fly them into the freaking building. Let's say he was to come out and say something like that. The whole America would be destabilized. Forget Afghanistan.
You're right.
America would be. I mean, there's people that already believe that.
There are. I mean, I never saw the Michael Moore movie about that, but I mean, that's what people firmly believe. People firmly believe that we were behind, the 9/11 attacks. And, I guess maybe for me, maybe I'm a guy that has blinders over my eyes. Maybe I don't want to see that. Maybe I don't want to believe it. Maybe it's true. Mr. A is saying he believes it. I mean, for me, if that's the case, then literally everything we have been told about this country, everything that this country stands for is bullshit. I mean, if that's the case, where we are attacking our own country and we are killing our own people, I mean, it's all falling apart. And you look at everything that we're seeing right now. I mean, I'm really concerned about the world we're living in. I mean, we're living in this world right now where you're looking at the Great Reset. I think the Great Reset is happening. You're looking at this world where we've got this pandemic that's been unleashed on all of us by that lab in Wuhan, China. You can't tell me it was an accident. It was done on purpose. And I think it's all part of that Great Reset to instill fear in all of us and to reset the world's economy. And if you don't think that's happening, I mean, right now, today, I don't think everyone here has Cumberland Farms, but we have Cumberland Farms up here, which is a convenience store chain. So kind of like Wawa if you're in Florida, like one of those stores. And I saw that in Massachusetts, they're now hiring at Cumberland Farms at $16 an hour, and they can't get anybody to work. There's a Walmart near me that's hiring people to stock shelves at $17.50 an hour. They can't get people to work. I mean, right now we're having, the country and stores and companies are advertising, jobs where they're paying people $20 an hour, where I got paid $4 an hour back in the day, and they can't get people to work. And I think a lot of that has to do with the Great Reset, where the whole world is looking to kind of reshape that world economy. Now, I had this conversation with my daughter the other day. She's a pretty smart kid. And I was saying to her, everything that's going on right now with the economy, do you think these inflated payments are happening to people on purpose? So it's forcing people to stay home and take the public benefits. And if they take those public benefits and companies can't find workers, then they naturally have to increase the amount of money they pay people because they can't find people. So you have to wonder if this whole thing where we're keeping people at home with these payments from the government is causing these smaller companies to have to pay more. And that in turn is part of the Great Reset. Now, for me, in a way, it's not a bad thing. I have a kid with autism who I don't know if he can do college or not. He's probably never going to make a lot of money in his life. But if he can work at, at a Walmart and make $20 an hour, he can at least pay for his rent and things like that and not suck off the system. So, I have all these things going through my mind as to what's happening in this world right now. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, crazy time. Before Cummings goes, it's going to be interesting here in Massachusetts. I see Crazy Town said they took that shit away in Texas. They haven't here yet in Massachusetts, but they are going to be taking away the benefits on September 4th. So then we're going to see an influx of people who have to get off their asses and go back to work, and we'll see how that works out. So go ahead, Cummings.
What if I told you, and a lot of people are going to say, oh, this is a conspiracy. This is not a conspiracy. What if I told you that those $17 an hour jobs that they can't get people for, what if I told you those employers were full of shit?
Okay, how so? Explain.
The government gives a subsidy when you have a job openings and you make and you have an employee that makes so much an hour. Well, the employer will hire said employee. The employee will take that said job. It gets them off the government benefits. So now they're no longer on government benefits. Then they cut them down to 4 hours a week, which they advertise $17 an hour. Now that employee can't afford to go back and forth to work because they're making $17 an hour, but they're only getting 4 hours a week. So the employee says, you know what? Screw it. I quit. So they quit. They get a government subsidy every time that happens.
There you go.
They get that every time it happens. So that's why when I tell people that a lot of these employers are saying, oh, we can't get people, you're full of shit because we own a store. Listen to this. My wife runs a store and we have not had one problem getting people to work. Not had one problem. Not had to raise wages. None of that. No government subsidies. Nothing. We have not had one problem throughout the entire pandemic of getting people to come back and forth to work.
That's crazy. I mean, do you think it's different in different parts of the country, though? Or is that pretty much a uniform thing across the country? Because up here, you and I have talked about this. Now, what's the minimum wage in Alabama? I know it's quite a bit less than it is here in Massachusetts.
It's the federal minimum wage. Alabama has no minimum wage.
Yeah, we have a minimum wage here. I think it's of $13.50 an hour. $13. I think it's $13.50 right now. And in January of 2022, the new Massachusetts minimum wage will be $15 an hour. So it doesn't matter who you are. And again, for me, I don't mind seeing people get paid more. I mean, that doesn't bother me. If you're going and you're doing your job and you're working hard, you should get a fair wage where you can support yourself and maybe your family if you can. But to me, I don't understand how smaller companies are going to be able to afford that. I mean, you've got the big Targets, you've got the big Walmarts, you've got the Amazons, you've got these big conglomerates that can afford, a higher minimum wage. But when you got the little mom and pop stores that you can barely afford having themselves draw a salary, but they're getting to the point where they need to grow and they need to hire someone so they can make their business a little bit bigger. I mean, how can they afford that kind of money to pay, a teenager to come in and work? I mean, I think it's almost untenable for smaller businesses. But if that's the case, then maybe that's the plan too. You want the small businesses to fail, and then these big conglomerates are controlling everything. So I don't know, the mindset behind that. Let's see. A Real Patriot's Voice: when minimum wage goes up, of course it does. The cost of living goes up also. I mean, that's one of the problems we have right now. The price of real estate up here in the Northeast is ridiculous. The price of everything is just over the top, crazy expensive. And I mean, up here, even where I live, you cannot find a one-bedroom apartment for less than $1,500 a month.
Damn.
That's bottom line. So that's what I'm saying. Like with my son, if he's making $13.50 an hour, I mean, if he's working 40 hours a week, he can't afford to have an apartment. He can't afford to live on his own. And that's kind of what we're dealing with up here in price wise. I mean, the houses up here are crazy expensive. I know you and I talked about this recently. Now the house I live in we bought. I mean, it's a decent sized house. It's like 3,100 square feet, so it's a good sized house. We have less than an acre of land. We're about an hour and 20 minutes outside of Boston, so we're not in the general Boston area. As of I think last week, the Zillow value on the house is like $585,000 right now. We bought it for 400. The people before us had bought it like 5 or 6 years before we bought it. They paid like 290 for the house. So the prices up here are just ridiculous. I mean, you're looking at if you were looking at a ranch in the metro Boston area, like within a 10-mile radius of Boston, even for a ranch house, you're looking at probably an absolute minimum of $700,000. And if you're in a really nice town, you're looking over $1 million for a ranch right now. I mean, it's ridiculous what what people are being expected to pay. I mean, people can't live. And that right there, I think, speaks for the cost of living going up because we keep throwing money in it. We keep pouring money into the economy with all these friggin' giveaways that we're doing right now. And then with the minimum wage going up, I mean, I guess it's good in a way, but it's costing jobs, number one. And number two, it's causing inflation. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, Cummings.
I don't know either, but when I bought this house, and I mean, this house is not a big house.
Yeah.
I paid $78,000 for this house. And I think I even sent you pictures. Yeah, I've sent you pictures.
Nice house. It's a nice house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on one second, Cummings. Hold on one second. Oh. Crazy Kane is in the house. And there's his laugh. I play it every time he comes in. My brother. Good to see you, Kane. All right, go ahead, Cummings.
But yeah, like I paid $78,000 for this house. Dude, this house is already over $100,000. Like right now, like I could put like the Zestimate, like what you're doing your house.
Yep.
I've not done one damn thing to this house besides paint it, and it's already over $100,000. And it's just like, man, I could flip this thing if I wanted to.
Right, just make some money. Yeah, you could. I mean, that's what we did. Like I bought a house in my late 20s, sold that, bought the first house with my wife and I, and then this is the third house we've owned. We owned a lake house also for a while. But I mean, that's each time we've made a little bit of money in each one, and we've been able to put down a bigger down payment for each consecutive house. And I mean, honestly, we had a raised ranch for the last house we had before where we are now. I was perfectly happy in that house. I love that house. I love the neighborhood. I really didn't want to leave. But then when we found out we were going to have our third and then eventually our fourth kid, the house was too small. We only had 3 bedrooms. We just couldn't do it. So we moved into the house we're in right now. And, I really did not want to move into this house. And I still think I like the old neighborhood better. Hey, Kane, buddy, how you doing? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I'm glad you're stopping in. And, make sure you come back in and call in sometime. We'd love to hear from you and hear how you're doing also, brother. But thanks for coming in, Kane. So I don't know, but no, I saw your house. Your house is beautiful. And that is very similar to the house we had when we first got married. And, you got to decide, what's important to you. I mean, do you want to, keep flipping and keep moving into bigger houses or just be, comfortable there? Now, do you think you guys are going to have a lot more children?
Well, we can only have 2 more, but it's looking like we're only going to be able to have 1 more because my wife, she's had some, I don't talk about this stuff a lot, but she's had some issues, like she has PCOS.
Okay.
And now she has to take, starting the 1st of this month, she has to take some fertility shot or something like that. And because it's really wreaked havoc on her, like her reproductive organs. And I mean, it's just like, the doctor has told us, yeah, you can have 2 more kids. I mean, we want 2 more kids, but it just doesn't seem like, we should because, it's it's one of those things, John, just being honest, like when she had our daughter, her blood pressure shot up. She didn't have the best of time after.
Yeah.
And we want to have 1 more kid, and she wants 2 more, but we want to have 1 more. And I told her the other day, I was like, you know what? If we have 1 more child and you make it through that one, I was like, we know this is about to be rough. There's no, I would love to have a 3rd child, but I don't want to raise 3 children and their mother die having a 3rd one.
No, I mean, I think about that a lot. Honestly, I've done my best job that I've been able to do as a dad. And I'm far from perfect. Believe me, I've had good days, a lot of bad days. I've made a lot of mistakes as a father. I've tried to do the very best I can do, but I can't imagine being a father to the 4 children that I have without my wife. I mean, women, honestly, and I'm not saying this to kiss up to the ladies in here, Jess. I know you're still with us, but women are superheroes. They have superpower. My wife never seems to get tired. She works, she takes care of the kids, she does all this stuff, and she has a way about her with the children that I just don't have. And I try. I mean, I do have a softer side, but my softer side probably not all that soft. And I think sometimes kids, not sometimes, all the time, kids need that nurturing, whatever it is, from their mothers that I don't think dads have an easy time providing. I mean, I've done my best, but you're right, man. I couldn't even imagine losing my wife, and trying to raise kids. And I know you love your wife. You're a great dad. I see a lot of the things that you post, and it gets scary. I mean, I remember with my first son, Matt, our guy that has autism, he, her pregnancy was tough. She started struggling 6 months into the pregnancy. She had to go on medication. She was having all these different contractions. She had to have a C-section. And I remember being in there, we kept losing his heartbeat. I mean, it was terrifying. It was scary. And she really had a very difficult birth. And I get it, man. It's scary when you think of going through life without your partner, So I don't know, I mean, you got to just be happy where you are. I mean, if you end up with one child, that's great. If you have one more and that's it, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's great. I came from one of two, and I guess we were kind of fortunate where we were able to have four. But, I certainly wouldn't trade my wife's health for that,
No, I mean, now if she has this one,
Bigfoot, welcome.
If she has this one and she goes through it like a champ, I mean, we'll probably have a third child. But if she struggles, and no, we're not doing it again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's scary. I'll tell you, I made the big mistake. And Jess Doc, I see her saying, getting tired isn't an option. You do what you have to do. That's true. I mean, my wife would get up. I mean, she would work, 10, 12 hours. She'd get up and breastfeed in the middle of the night and do all that stuff. And, the babies didn't really want me. And her breastfeeding was a good thing for me. I got to sleep a little bit because I'm a pretty grouchy person when I don't at least get my 6 hours. But she did it all. And I don't know if I could have done everything that she did the way that she did it, but I'll tell you, I made one cardinal mistake with my son, Matt, after he was born. That we had an emergency C-section. She was rushed out of the room, brought into the OR. I was running along behind them, scared to all hell. And I remember standing up by her head, and, she was terrified, and they were taking the baby out. And it was really scary. And, the baby came out, and then I looked over, and the doctor was with the baby across the room. And of course, first baby, I didn't know what to do. So I'm standing there with my wife, still like friggin' cowering basically after what had happened. And she's like, John, you can go over and see the baby. I was like, oh, I can? She delivered babies in her job. I was like, well, I didn't know that. I could just walk over there. And she's like, yes. So I stood up. I'd been down by her head. I stood up and I looked over the sheet. If there's anybody out there where your wife has a C-section, do not look over the sheet.
No.
I looked over the sheet. It was like Silence of the Lambs.
Yep.
Her insides were all over the table. I remember I just sat down by her head and I was like, oh my God, I looked over the sheet. She's like, no, you didn't. I'm like, I did. And she's like, oh, honey, I'm sorry. And, I mean, it was horrible. I mean, they are. Women are wired differently. They're amazing. And, I joke about my wife and I give her a hard time in person, but and I will say this in all honesty, I do believe women are the stronger gender. Women are strong. They are tough. They are just better people than men in general. I really feel that way. I mean, and I'm not saying that to beat myself down. I think I'm a pretty decent guy in a lot of ways, but women a lot of times just, awe me as to how amazing they are. Now, ladies, if you're out there and you're listening to me, the one thing you all need to figure out, and Crazy Kane, I'm sorry I'm keeping you waiting. Give me one more minute. But the one thing that you all need to figure out is you would have all taken over the world already if you could all just get along with each other. Women can't get along with each other. Am I wrong, guys? You put a bunch of women in an office together, you're backstabbing each other, you're talking behind each other's back, there's drama all the time. Women, if they could get along with each other, men, we'd be living in cages. I'm telling you right now, we'd be done. We'd be screwed. So I guess we can feel lucky that women haven't mastered the ability to get along with each other. So listen, Crazy Kane, I've kept you waiting. What do you got going on? Then we'll go to Goose. What's up, guys?
Oh, nothing. I heard y'all been missing me. I figured I'd drop in.
I always miss you.
Say hi.
How you been? How's everything going in your life? You doing well?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Good.
I'm doing wonderful
And what's
these
that picture?
days.
I see the picture of your icon. There's like a little guy with a doobie.
This
What's that?
is this is one of 5 logos of mine.
I like it. What's he smoking?
He ain't. It's a microphone.
That's a ball. I thought he had like a doobie in his mouth, dude. I didn't know it was a. See, that shows how blind I am. I have to get away from the microphone and look closer. Hold on. Fuck, I still can't see it. Okay, so it's a microphone. All right, now I get it.
It's a microphone. Yes.
All right, now I get it. It looks like weed to me. I guess everything to me comes back to weed. Hey, Goose, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm doing great. I mean, I agree with you. I strongly agree with you. I take care of my kids during the day, and I'm telling you, I don't know how the girls do it.
Oh, they're
It's
amazing,
really
right?
freaking difficult to do. I'm telling you.
Oh, they're amazing.
I mean, it is amazing. God wired the woman different. We are weak. And they are strong. They are, man. They are. And we don't give them much credit.
No, they deserve it. They deserve all the credit in the world. They really do. You won't find the John DeVito show hating on women, man. The John DeVito appreciates them and respects everything they do. Now, Goose, I hear a bit of an accent. Where are you from?
I'm from Puerto Rico.
Oh, you really?
But
Nice.
I live in the state I was in the army for many years, so I retired from the military.
Oh, now where do you live in the U.S.? What state?
Florida, the great state of Florida. Yeah.
Oh, good for you. I live in Massachusetts, and we get a ton of
Oh
snow.
no!
You live in a
Woo!
warm climate.
Hey, one thing is that my wife works, and I'm retired from the military. But I look at that clock at 5:30, 6:30, waiting for my wife to get home. Once she get home, I'm out of the other door. And a lot of people don't appreciate when they go home and they see their wife they're struggling with the kid. They start freaking, asking for this, that. Did you cook? I can't believe you cooked. You did this, you did that. You got to understand, they're taking their kid. That's a freaking full-time job.
Right.
Now I understand. Before I didn't, but now that I'm taking care of my kid, I say, hell, I'd rather go back to work.
It's hard. It's
Most
hard
of the time,
work.
yeah, it is hard, man.
I know. For me, my whole career, I've always worked out of my house. I work remotely. I'm in sales, and that's what I do for a living. So, when my wife's at work, I've had to help a lot with the kids and with the house. And it is a lot of work. It is hard to do it. And yeah, I mean, they put their time in. So, Elgato, what's going on in here, brother? I see Elgato's in the chat. Good to see you, my man. Hopefully everything's going well. Elgato's incredible. So, Crazy Kane, what else you got going in your life? I want to give you a little bit more time also, because I'm going to probably end this pretty quickly. We're an hour and 10 minutes. So what else is happening with you, brother?
Let's see. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen this weekend, because Crazy might make a public appearance.
Really?
At a Comic-Con.
Ooh, nice.
Here in my neck of the woods.
Now one of my son's friends just went to 2 Comic-Cons, and he got pictures with the 2 guys from Scream. He got pictures from with a bunch of the Jasons from Friday the 13th. He got all kinds of great pictures with some legends in like horror movies. So who's going to be at the Comic-Con you're thinking about going to?
Mick Foley.
Okay.
The original April O'Neil from Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
I didn't know it, but the pizza guy from Ninja Turtles, who was also a Ninja Turtle, he was double acting. Didn't know that. And some anime voice people, like the person that voiced Goku, and y'all have to understand Dragon Ball for me to go either further.
Dragon Ball Z, right?
But
yep.
Z, the original, basically been Goku since day one, basically.
Nice. You sound like you're looking forward to that, because I know that I've never been to Comic-Con, but they look pretty cool. I mean, I've seen some people I'd like to meet. Oh, look who's here, Mr. Clean, Robert. How you doing, brother? It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time, Robert. I hope you're doing well, and hopefully I can get into one of your shows sometime soon. But hey, listen, I'll give each you guys a few minutes now. I mean, Cummings, I don't know if you have anything else, or Crazy Kane or Goose. I'm going to wrap this thing up in a few minutes. But we've had a good show today. We've talked about a lot of different things. I talked about what's been happening in Afghanistan. I've talked about my son, Matt, who's going to school. He's leaving for college in less than a month, like literally like 2 weeks. And me and my wife are pretty devastated about that. We talked about penis size, which I didn't expect us to go in that direction, and things that happen in football locker rooms. And then we went into talking about, some of the political stuff, some of the things that have happened on Epstein's Island, and how none of those people have been brought to justice over the years. And then, of course, we got to have Goose come in. We talked about how amazing women are, which they are. And, Crazy Kane talking about Comic-Con. Good to see you, Dark Bear. I'm glad you came back in. Yeah, my show's about that. I'm going to be over in a second, Dark Bear. But I don't know, Cummings, you got any closing thoughts you want to throw out there about anything we talked about?
I'm going to see your favorite person this weekend and Elgato's favorite man ever.
Who's that?
I'm going to see President Trump Saturday.
Oh, nice. You got to text me some pictures. You got to text me some pictures.
I'll text you some pictures. I may go. Hey, you know what I may do?
What's that?
I may take
slap him in the face.
No,
I'm just kidding.
I'm going to tell him this cholo from California named Elgato loves him.
No, Elgato, hold on one second.
I'm actually going to be at Comic-Con where Crazy Kane's coming. And if you come up to get an autograph from me, I'm going to slap you in the face because I ain't nobody.
Now, Elgato, hold on one second. I ran into Trump about a week ago, and it was funny because he was talking about me, and I guess he's been in your show. So one of the things he told me was, if he ever sees you in California, he's going to grab you by the pussy. So just
really?
Ready. Yeah, that's what he told me anyway.
He's going to grab me by the dart bear? Oh, man.
He is? Yeah. That's what he said anyway.
Oh, oops.
Erik, how are you? Oh, man. Yeah, trying to get back into a Dark Bear.
Back from the grave.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back into a Dark Bear. Now that summer's coming to an end, hopefully I'll be on a little bit more often than I was over the summer. But Cummings, that sounds like fun. Send me some pictures for the Trump rally. I'd love to see it.
I'll send you some pictures. I mean, I'm gonna. There's gonna be some people that I met during doing my podcast and stuff. I think Gene's gonna be there, so I think I'm gonna see him when I'm there, and I'm gonna try to get backstage.
Nice. That'd be awesome. And maybe you can get that interview going on your podcast, which would be amazing.
Damn, dude, that's it. That's the end of Cummings' culture, just so y'all know. When I get Trump, that's it. It's over.
It's over. There's nothing else you can do to beat that,
No, it's over. There's no. That's it. That's grand finale. I swear to God, after I'm through and that Donald Trump episode plays, at the end of that, you're gonna hear "My Way" by Frank Sinatra. By God, that's the last you'll ever hear from my fat ass.
Drop the mic. It's over. That's all you can do.
It's over.
So, Elgato, tell us about you, man. What's happening in sunny California? What are you doing out there, brother?
Shit's going haywire. The volcanoes are coming out of the ground. The economy's collapsing. People are riding on the streets. Now, that's what you want to hear, but it's not. It's actually a nice, warm day, just like always. And, I didn't even know this, but it's cool. What I'm going away from all this political shit. Yeah. I actually ran into a guy with he used to have Trump banners on his truck.
Okay.
And now he has Larry Elder banners on his truck. And I mean, he greets me and everything. That's how it should be. Who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? We talk and
I think that'd be a good thing. If we could ever. I mean, I think it's something, what we need to do, honestly. I think what we need to do in this country is not flush all these politicians out, kick them all out, and just start over. We need a new group of people on both sides, and we need to get back to a place in this country where we can all fucking respect each other. Right? Respect each other, get along, come to a common ground. But the problem is the rich and the powerful don't want that. So, I mean, it'll never happen. But, I mean, it's a nice thing to think about where we could get to a place in this world where we actually get along and we can agree on things. But
we don't have to play their game, right? They want us to play their game, but we don't have to play their game. Look at me and you, John DeVito.
Right,
we're on the other side. And I love you, motherfucker.
Exactly. Honestly, now, Elgato, since you just professed your love to me.
Hi, how's it going?
That kind of got me going a little bit. So I hope you don't, hold on one sec. Give me about an hour. I'm going to pop a Cialis and I'll be over to see you. So just, hang in there, brother. I'm going to be there soon. Just let me get my shit in order and I'll be over to see you. All right?
Oh, God.
No noise? Nothing? Oh, man. I think I scared him away. Elgato, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. All right. Hey, Crazy.
Oh, no, he's scared because he knows what's going to happen if he ends up on my show again.
Now, when's your next show?
He's going to get buried.
When's your show? Is it going to be this weekend or when you getting on again?
I'm debating whether or not I'm going to do a show because I am traveling.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do lives, but if I do a show, y'all might be on tour with Crazy at the Comic Con and the wrestling event that I will be going to after the Comic Con.
That sounds pretty good.
I just don't know yet. I don't know if anybody's ready for that.
That sounds pretty good.
I heard Kevin Federline's going to be there too.
Now, if
El
Brittany's there, that would
Gato, El
work.
Gato. I'm
Good to see you
surprised
out
you're
there.
even able to talk.
I love you,
You're
Crazy
even able
Kane.
to do anything after my boy Zilla the Killer.
Uh-oh, I got to go.
Down in that
See ya.
rap battle.
All right,
I
later,
got-
brother. All right, take care, brother. All right, hey, listen, everybody.
Run.
I'm going to wrap up this
Run,
bad
El
boy as
Gato.
well. So, hey, Goose, I want to give you one last chance, man. It was good to have you in the show. Hopefully, you come back again. So, I don't know, man. So, I agree with you completely. Now, how many kids do you have, Goose?
Me, I got five girls, man.
5 girls. Oh my God. How do you do that? 5 girls. Wow.
Yeah.
I get 4 kids and I get 3 boys, man. That's amazing. With I don't know how you do it with 5 girls. Must be a lot of drama in your house.
Oh, it's drama every freaking day, man. But hey, my wife, once she come through that door, I'm out. I go do my show every Wednesday, Slacker 82 Alpha. That's my freaking vacation right there, the show. And I freaking, I explode in the show because, now you understand why. All the freaking stress.
Right. Oh my God. I don't know how you do it. I have 1 daughter.
But I got 2 there in college, so they're almost done.
Yeah, my first is going to college. My oldest is going to college in 2 weeks. So I'm kind of.
And I got a baby, 2 years old.
Oh.
Can you get it? I'm over 50.
Holy crap.
So,
I am too. Oh, you're over. See, I'm 53 and my youngest is 12.
I'm going to be 55 pretty soon.
Good, you beat me. Now I don't feel so old. You're making me feel better.
No. Hey, they keep us young. Remember that. Kids keep us going,
Right. Well, I had fun in my 20s, so I have no regrets over my 20s.
That's right.
I don't feel like I'm missing anything in my old age, So, man, it was good to have you on the show. And I see Erik join me also. Erik, how you doing, brother?
Hey, join our show too next Wednesday. Okay, Slacker 82 Alpha.
What time?
7 o'clock from 7 to 9. Yesterday we had emergency. A state of emergency show last night to talk about this BS that's going on in our country.
Oh, I know.
So you guys welcome to come to our show. It's really, I think it's a good show. What do you think, Erik?
I will pop in. Absolutely. And I appreciate you joining my show and coming in and calling in and everything. So, Erik, what do you think, man?
Oh, we missed you earlier today. So
you know what happened? I had to get my car towed today. I talked about this earlier in the show. I had to bring my daughter to something, and then my car died, so I had AAA. And it's funny. You can't on my phone. I can't change the show. So on the computer, you can edit the time. I couldn't change it, so I figured I would just come on later. So I apologize for not making the time this morning at 11:30. But my car is now gone. It's been towed away, and hopefully they'll fix it. And hopefully it won't be expensive. We'll see how much it's going to cost. But hey, Erik, I'm about to wrap it off. Do you want to run down some of the shows that are coming up?
Well, coming up on Podbean Live this evening, you've got the Slightly Serious Show at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's also at the same time as Beans and Weenies. Hopefully, Cummings' Culture is going to do a show this week, and be on lookout tomorrow morning for Ralph and the Old Man, and hopefully you might be on this week too, John.
Yeah, tomorrow, I'm trying to think tomorrow. What day? Tomorrow's Tuesday. Actually, tomorrow might happen. Yeah, I might be able to do tomorrow at 11:30. So hopefully I'll be able to schedule that and get on again. That was the plan today, and then my plans got thrown all up in the air. But yeah, go ahead. I didn't want to.
Well, and then Mike Tampa Bay's on tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time with Dina Joe, and then Goose and Maverick and Bravo 1 on Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. Torch Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern if he's doing a show, and then.
Hey, Doc Bear, I love it. Anytime, brother. Anytime you want to call in and then the show, go ahead.
And then you've also got Frankie D doing shows this week, so he's somebody to be on the lookout for. And then names like Chris Unplug and Crazy Town and Crazy Kane and the It's Doomsday podcast and Dude Sean over the weekend.
All right, so it looks like we get a lot of good shows coming up. So, Erik, I'm sorry I missed you. Look for me tomorrow at 11:30 in the morning after the Old Man Show, and you all join me and come back again. We had a good time today. We talked about a lot of stuff. And it was funny, Erik. This is one of those shows where I had kind of like a loose plan as to what I wanted to talk about. And the show just went in completely a different direction. So it's fun when that happens. I always enjoy it, having to respond to some different things. But for everybody that called in today, thank you very much. Erik, Cummings, Goose, Elgato. Who am I forgetting? Who else called in? I can't remember.
And I know Crazy Kane and yeah.
Yep, and they called in as well. So, all right, everybody. Hey, everyone have a great afternoon. Thank you so much for coming into my show. I greatly appreciate it. And please, if you haven't been here before, please follow my show if you get a chance. And please come back and join me again. I'd really appreciate it. All right, everybody. Take care and have a great night.
See ya.
See you now. Ooh, the rock song. I like this one. Cummings, I'm waiting for you. More hearts. I'm waiting for it. So I'm staying. Until this song ends, I will stay on. I want more hearts, baby. Especially your heart. I would negotiate with a terrorist. I would drop a fucking Moab on them. That would be my negotiation. Well, Elgato, with the shoe fits, brother. All right, I guess I'll have to stay on until after the music. You know what I'll play? When Harry Met Sally moaning. This will keep us going. Here we go. This will give us 30 seconds.
Are you okay?
Oh.
I may have to finish this now.
Oh, God. Ooh. Oh, God. Oh.
All right.
Oh.
I got to let this play out now. I can't stop.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, right there.
You look at partridges coming in now like, holy shit.
Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh. Yes. 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 Oh.
I get it all the way up.
Oh, yes. 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 Oh. Yes. 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 Yes.
My wife's going to be mad I recorded her.
Oh. Oh. Oh, God. Oh.
All right. On that note, we're going to end the John DeVito show. Good night, everyone.